Paltrocast now with Darren Paltrowitz. Get ready to listen to your favorite artists.
Paltrocast.
I'm going to say good afternoon. How's your day going, aside from, answering the same questions over and over and over again, Jen?
Right. Pretty great. Can't complain.
Right. So we are talking about a month before the new record comes out. How long has it actually been done for? I know it's a live album, but there's a lot of steps that go into capturing a live album.
Yes. I think it's been out. I think we captured it in March or May. So it's been a good amount of time.
Did you only record that one show, or is it the kind of thing where, as a backup plan, you had a couple other shows the tape was rolling?
We only did that night. Yeah. So I was telling a friend, it's funny because you can tell that it's all in one night, because at the beginning of the night, my hair looks great. And by the end of it, it's crazy.
Well, sometimes you find out that artists will tape like a 7 o'clock show and a 10 o'clock show, or a 3-night stand in case something goes wrong. But it sounds like you were live without a net.
Yeah, we really tried to capture it like that, so it felt, real and natural. We did like a dress rehearsal, and then we did just go for it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, when did the idea to do this live album come about? Because in some ways, in very few ways, but in some ways, it's easier to do a studio album than a live album.
Yeah, we love the power of just a really great, strong song. Really who we are in the other half of our DNA is in those live moments and the spontaneous moments. And so it definitely feels on brand for us to be way more live than we are in the studio. I respect and love a good studio album, but I feel more myself when it's live, I think.
Is this the 19th album from the collective?
Your guess is probably as good as mine. After 25 years of doing this, it's all a blur, but it could be.
So how do we address the group? Is it a collective? Is that the proper term?
Yeah.
Do we say a posse? What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, collective's great. At the end of the day, we're all a group of friends we're all worship leaders at the end of the day. And, we love and encourage our team to do creative projects outside of just doing worship. Like, we love that.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, what makes us Bethel Music is it's house of God, right? That's what Bethel means. And so we write music for the church, and that's our DNA and that's our heart. So collective's great though.
It's great to see that you personally, you could do the duo albums, yet there you are collaborating with John from Switchfoot. It seems very open-minded and not just, hey, this is one genre that we're into. Was that part of the original pitch of Bethel Music, or did it just evolve into being so open?
Yeah, I think it's always been our heart to stay connected to and work with the global body of Christ, other churches, Christian music, the CCM world, the radio world, the gospel world. I think that that's the beautiful part about the body of Christ, is that there's so many different aspects and parts, and it's just pretty beautiful to see everybody work together. So I grew up really a melting pot of influence from Christian music, worship music, gospel music. And so I feel like I carry the DNA of that and the love and the value of that, kind of everybody everywhere working together. So yeah, I think it's just been in me since I was little.
Well, speaking of growing up, if I did my research correctly, you're a lifer in Redding, California. Is that correct?
In Northern California, yes, which is basically, I grew up about 4 hours from Redding in Northern California, but I've been in Northern California almost all my life. So we're in Nashville about half the time these days, back and forth. But yeah, I'm a Northern California girly.
Did you know that you were going to be a lifer in Northern California? I say that because a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with where they live. They want to prove everyone wrong by getting out. But then I think there comes that age where they go, you know what, it wasn't so bad there after all, but you kind of stuck around.
Yeah, we've been even just at our home church. We've been there for over 25 years, and before that, I served in my church growing up since I was little. So I'm a local church girl, but I think it's helped keep kind kind of that stability and that anchoring in that small town community vibe. Community is a big, important thing for us. We have our friends and family and team over on sometimes almost daily basis to keep that connection with our community, our local community and family. So I really have a high value for that. I think it keeps you anchored. I mean, the Bible says those who are planted in the house of the Lord flourish. And I believe that, and I've lived out that truth in my life. So.
Sounds like you're juggling a lot of communities between the family, the immediate family, that community, the congregation, the label collective community, as opposed to just having 3 or 4 friends in your life.
Yeah. People say, how do you balance it? And I just say, balance is for the birds. It doesn't exist. It's just a juggle of all the things. But at the end of the day, I think, different ways of doing things, it ebbs and flows in my life. And, you can't do everything all at once. I know that, but you can have, just different aspects and pieces of it along the way. So I've just done my best to steward with the Lord, kind of what that looks like and who that is and how that's changing, and just kind of follow who I feel. But it's a lot of humans for sure. And we have, 5 kids plus their, spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends. And so we've got a lot of humans in our care and our team and our church and the global friendships and churches and the lost. Obviously, I have a huge passion for people who don't know Jesus yet. But yeah, I think one day at a time and just staying planted in my Bible, man, if I can get up every day at like 6 a.m. and read my Bible, I'm good to go. Like that is just such an anchor for my life. And when I don't, I get a little weird. So.
Well, on a brighter note, congrats on the recent Grammy nomination. I can imagine it's daunting. That's a lot of tickets to have to buy to the Grammys for that number of family and friends and collective people and all that. But real question here, does it matter in 2024, 2025, a Grammy nomination? Is it still a big honor, or is it, that wasn't why I was doing this to begin with?
Yeah, it's funny because in one sense it is an honor and it's cool, but it's pretty wild to see the differences between the charts and what people are listening to versus what the awards are given. And so for us, we've really just always gone kind of by the charts of what people are connecting to and following. And that's been amazing to watch. So the awards, not that they don't mean anything, it is an honor, especially in the broader music community. I think that's a huge splash there, which is super cool. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to making Jesus known. And if winning this award makes him known on a greater level, then that's amazing. But it is fun to watch, to see the songs honored on that level.
And kudos to you. If I can keep the compliments coming, or are you maxed out for the day and no more positivity? I don't know which one.
I'm great.
A lot of people have high Billboard charting albums. They don't chart internationally, but in your case, your music does also do well in Canada and Australia. Are there teams internationally working for you, or is it the same product goes out and just connects with people the same way?
We have just so many beautiful people that are working for us in our Bethel Music as a label, and then all the people that we partner with around the world. So it really does take a village to help your music get to these places. But at the end of the day, we kind of do what we feel like we're supposed to do with publicity or promotion. And really at the end of the day, just knowing that we don't have to hustle or give our life away, spinning our wheels to get our music out. God really does order our steps. And so we just are to the best of our ability, we just follow the leads that he has us connect with. But definitely takes a village for sure.
With the new album being a live album and being out in a couple of weeks, how does that work? Do you tour in support of a live album? Are there tour plans?
Yeah, we actually just did a little tour a few weeks ago. But one of the things with Bethel Music that we've actually stayed committed to is not doing these huge tours. One of the reasons why we started Bethel Music was actually because we looked into the industry to see how people were doing things, and we were like, "Ugh, this is a lot," and seems actually unhealthy in a big way. we really have such a passion for healthy families and for healthy church connection and normalcy. And so we do slower rhythms of touring for sure. We don't do big, long, crazy things. We just kind of do gradual and little things. So we did a little tour a few weeks ago, and then we absolutely will be doing more. And, we say we take church on the road. And we write these songs for the church, and we are worship leaders. So we hold these worship nights. We tell people we don't do concerts. We don't do that. We are worship leaders. So come and, welcome to church is our one-liner. But yeah, absolutely. We have a passion to take these songs and to also partner with what God's doing in the room that night over that city, what song, what he's saying to those people, the personal ministry. We don't just do worship nights, we do worship and ministry usually, because we really are connecting to what God's doing in the room and just following that to the best of our ability.
Right. Success with worship nights and also Bethel Music Conference. And so in other words, there's good branding going on. But I've got 2 more questions for you that hopefully you don't go, these are stupid, shut up, Darren, that kind of thing. Are you ready for these questions?
Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
First question. Your husband is named Brian Johnson, which is also the singer of AC/DC's name. Does your husband ever get any mail accidentally that's meant for the singer of AC/DC?
Yes, actually, not mail, but we, back in the day when he used to call Guitar Center, which is where we, back in the day, like in 2000,
Sure.
And then we started having a little bit of notoriety. Then they would ask, is this the Brian Johnson that's the Christian or the AC/DC one? So
That might be one and the same, because the other Brian Johnson is in Florida, so you never know what he's up to these days.
never know.
You never know. Well, I mean, to reiterate with all that, Alice Cooper, what he's performing on stage has nothing to do with the Alice Cooper, the human being that's doing charity work and at congregation all the time.
Yeah, totally. Characters.
Sure. And the last question I have, in doing some research, I saw that Billy Joe Armstrong had been affiliated in some form with Bethel Music. Is that Billy Joe from Green Day?
I have no idea. I haven't heard that. I mean, I grew up knowing who Green Day was, but I have no idea. Maybe so. There's so much happening. I can't keep up with it all. So people will tell me things every day of someone saying it, or, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So we've just got so much going on with all the things that it's something new every day, it feels like. So maybe. Hi, Billy. How you doing? Love you.
So potentially there's more than one Brian Johnson and there's more than one Billy Joe Armstrong, potentially.
Probably. It's a big world.
And then the last question, do you think we'll ever see Bethel performing in New York in 2025 or 2026?
Yeah, that's our goal. We're actually headed there this weekend. So shout out to, if this goes out before then, we're leading worship at Bethel, New York this coming Sunday. We have a huge passion for New York. We'd love to do our conference there this next year as well. So just follow along for more details on that. But we feel like God's doing something really special in New York, and we're just happy to pour into that and partner with that, and love that it can pour back to some great local churches in that area as well.
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for the great positivity that you and team put out into the world. I'm really looking forward to whatever's coming next.
Absolutely. There sure is. Stay tuned.
Paltrocast.
David, how is your day going aside from answering the same questions over and over and over again?
I'm okay. I'm good. I mean, I like the project. I like the story. I like everything that I remember about this project. So I'm so happy to share anything about this.
Sure. So when you co-created the show, what was the original name of it? Because for English-speaking audiences, there's one name. For the rest of the world, there's another name. I assume it was the Spanish language title came first.
Yes, of course. Yes. I will be honest with you. We were like doubting for a long time about if put "you will do it too" or "I will do it too." That was the main doubt about the project. Obviously, the Spanish title come first because it's a Spanish project. Right. But the only doubt that we had for a long time, it was like about more like saying about you or about I, But yeah, that was the title from the beginning.
So not all the shows on Apple TV go global. Did you know outright that you were writing for an international audience?
We didn't know that because, in fact, at the beginning, when we were shooting the project, we didn't sell the project internationally. So Legendary Pictures financed the project, risking their money, so believing really in the story and the project, and that financial model was what we were doing. We trust that we were doing something that can appeal to international audiences. So we were trusting about our passion, and we were doing our best. So I'm happy. I'm so happy right now that we can share that with the rest of the world. We were sharing that the premiere was in Spain, and we were like excited about how the rest of the world will react.
Nowadays, it's very normal to see programs filmed in Spain. Like the new season of Cobra Kai is mostly in Spain, for example. Nowadays, is it a change for you to be able to film so much in Spain and not have to go to Hollywood or London?
That's a really good question, Darren, because, I was living in Los Angeles in 2012, 2013. I was there for a few years, and I remember that for that moment, kind of like Hollywood or go to LA to live and try to build a career there, it was like I'm the only option.
Yeah.
And I remember, but by then, Spain as an industry were like growing up really quick. We were like doing really like high quality shows and TV, but of course we didn't have enough money to show up to show what we can do. So when Netflix, Apple TV, and all these platforms start to produce in Spain, it was like the moment where we can like really prove everything that we learned and how prepared we were in our country. So it's exciting that the last trips that I did in LA, a few months ago, I was in LA, and the crazy thing is that now is the opposite around. It's like people in Hollywood is really interested in know how to shoot in Spain, because the team is really well prepared, the crew are amazing. Shoot here obviously is cheaper than shooting in some parts of the world. So I think that we have a lot of advantages shooting here, and we know what we are doing. So it's really exciting that I can live close to my friends and my family and do what I love.
Did you move to LA because of the short film Zero?
No, yes and no. So what happened is that I did a short film before it's called The Guild. With this short film, I won the YouTube Film Festival. But that happened a month after I moved there. So that was not the reason, but it was meant to be, because after I won this crazy content with Ridley Scott involved, with Michael Fassbender involved, I don't know. I was living there for a month, and I was having a lunch with Michael Fassbender talking about the project. So I was like, look at that. Right. That's not bad.
Not bad.
No, and then after a few months, I was shooting Zero. So it was a really interesting experience there.
So now, because of this show, you're known as a show creator and a director and executive producer. But a lot of times the person has a job on the set before they become a director. You find out that they were a cinematographer or an editor. What was your specialty before you made it as a director?
I think that my case is a little bit weird, because when I was 17, I was trying to figure out in which film school I could apply, but it was really expensive for me and for my family. And I was so lucky because I wanted to apply for a workshop, a 3 months workshop, but I was so young for that workshop. So what happened is that I was so pushy. I was really insisting a lot. I want to be part of this workshop. This is a really good opportunity. I want to be a film director, blah, blah, blah. And the film director who was involved in that workshop, that it was Vigas Luna, who is a really well-known director who discovered Penelope Cruz, Javier Bardem. He was like, look, David, I don't know what about you, but do you want to work with me as a personal assistant? And I was like, what the fuck? Yes, of course. So after 3 months working together, it was kind of a test. After that 3 months working together, he was like, okay, David, don't go to any film school. I will be your film school. I will teach you everything that I know. You stay with me as a personal assistant, and you will learn everything that you need. And I was with him for 5 years, so he was my university, and it was the best experience in my life because he was a really passionate artist, human being, and I learned so much, not just about cinema, especially about life and art. So it was a really beautiful experience. Yeah.
Well, two quick questions and then I let you go. You ready?
Yes.
First one, is IMDb correct that the next project is Corta Fuego?
It's correct. I just finished shooting 2 weeks ago. It's a movie. It was a wild experience. It's a fire happening in a forest. So I learned so much about the shooting, and now I'm taking a break, a 2 weeks break, and starting after Christmas, editing the movie, and we will see what comes out about that.
So not a heist movie. Okay, got it. And the last question I have for you, when you have these off periods or these off times, what do you do with yourself?
It's a good question. It's happening right now. I try to relax. I try to watch a lot of movies. I try to go to the cinema and maybe watch 2 movies in a row. Because when I'm shooting, I cannot go to the cinema. As you know, it's something weird that happened. When I'm shooting, I don't want to watch movies. I don't want to. The only thing that I want to watch is documentaries. So now is when I want to really watch all the movies that I miss during that period, and just relax and have a coffee, go with my notebook, think about life. I don't know.
So when you're not busy with movies, you're busy with movies. That's what I'm hearing. Well,
exactly.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on Tu También Lo Odias. Looking forward to future projects, and thank you for your time, David.
Thank you. Thank you, Darren.
Paltrocast.
A pleasure to be speaking with everybody today. Congrats on Isabel's Garden. And I'll throw the first question at Valery. I'll say, Valery, how much of Christina is there in you, the human being?
Oh my goodness. A lot of her. Christina, she knows what she wants. She is, I am not a mother. I haven't had my own children, but I feel like I have very motherly qualities, and she is a protector. I could relate to that about Christina, and she's, and I can't relate to the guarded part, but I just feel like she's very, in this film and where we meet her in her life, she's trying to find the balance. And I could relate to that in so many different ways. And she's outspoken. I don't think I'm as brave as her with how forward she can be, but it's definitely in my inner monologue sometimes. So, there's a lot. I'm actually in a blended family as well. And this was really fun that Kit was able to bring the story to life and allow us as actors to explore what that would be, right? If the one variable, the person who's bringing everybody together, is taken away, like what happens? And she just did such a phenomenal job in what these characters went through and what is now Isabel's Garden.
Well said. Now, Manuel, same question at you with the Diego character. Different than you in a serious way, in a major way?
I'm a dad as well. I have a 12-year-old, and I consider myself to be a good dad and kind. And there's always challenges with dealing with a preteen. And the funny thing is when my daughter Ira saw the film for the first time, she's like, "Papa, you're so sweet in this movie." And I'm like, so one of my takeaways is I'm going to be more like Diego. As a dad, I'm going to be a lot more patient and understanding. But yeah, that's the one thing in that character that I really connected with. And, he was an artist and a painter, and getting to play a role like that really inspires you to do a lot of things.
Throwing it to Gabriela, two-parter, because you've been very patient and waiting for your turn at the mic here. How much of Isabel is there in you? That's part one. And part two, how'd you wind up in this one? Did you know Kit? Was it a traditional audition? Tell me.
It was a traditional audition. When I first read the script, I immediately fell in love with the story, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. One of my favorite things to do when I'm reading a script and figuring out my character is figuring out how much we are alike. What are the things that we are alike and the things that we are different? And I found that with me and Isabel, there weren't that many differences. I'm also like a very internal person, and I think a lot if I even say anything. And that's a big thing with her too, is that she's constantly has things in her mind. So I do find that I was very similar to her. I don't have the amazing dance moves that she has, but I did find a lot of similarities between her and I.
Well, back to Valery here. How did you wind up in this great film? Was it a traditional audition? Did you know anybody? And following up on that, did you know anybody in the film before working on it?
So let me tell you how it is these days. So it's not even like a traditional audition, because back in the day, I'm going to age myself a little bit, but we used to get to go into a room and like have an audition in front of a casting director. So fast forward to, COVID and where we are now. So it was a traditional audition in the sense I didn't know anybody, but I just, give you inside scoop. So I got to audition at my house. So we get the script, and then you put yourself on tape, like that's what it's called, and you send your tape to the casting, and then you get a callback. So the callback was really fun because that's when I got to essentially be directed by Kit. Manuel was there. And this was also still via Zoom. So it's such a different world when it comes to auditioning these days, which is like wild. Also fun, but also like I like connecting with people, so it's weird. So it was an audition, but it was like, 2025, or well, 24 or 20. When did we do this? 23? When did we audition? It's a different time for auditions.
But if I can chime in, Darren,
please.
Every actor in this movie was casted through the normal casting process, in the sense nobody was given this role other than the one person, which is technically me, because I'm married to Kit. And I mentioned we couldn't get Pedro Pascal in to play Diego, so I jumped in. But no, Gabriela, Valery, Karen, Jane, Ptolemy, Veronica, all of these incredible actors really connected with the character, gave incredible performances in their auditions and callbacks, and it was clear that they were meant to play the role. Nobody was given the role because they knew somebody. It was we had a chance to go through that. I know the casting director, Jeff Gaffner, he went through thousands and thousands of tapes, and you withers that down to like the top 20, the top 10, the top 5. So it was quite a process casting this, but it was a beautiful process, and I feel like we knocked it out of the park.
And Gabriela, bring it to you before we wrap here, being mindful of your time, because a lot of people want to speak to you, wonderful folks. Playing the character that the film is named after, did you know all along that the film was named after the character, or is it a working title scenario and they went on the last day, guess what? We didn't want you to have a big head, and knowing the film was named after you?
No, I did. I did know the title of the film as I got to audition, and I got the full script as well. So I got to read the story, and again, that's just what instantly drew me into the story as well.
Paltrocast.